Hi, everybody. Welcome to another live stream for Moment. Moment is a no-code full-stack web app development platform, and you can, as a non-technical founder, you can build your own business on top of it. And this live stream, we are going to introduce the hopefully long-awaited functionality of building stuff with AI assistance. In fact, we have released this feature for quite a bit of time. We just haven't really publicized it. We call it uh, Copilot, Moment Copilot. We're obviously borrowing that from Microsoft, but the concept is a fairly reasonable one. Like you have an AI assistant that helps you to achieve your goal alongside you. So the first one that we have created, the first Copilot, we call it Copilot demo. Okay, the first Copilot that we have created is on the database schema creation. Databases are really the core of Moment, or in fact, any full stack application. If your database structure is badly designed, you will run into a hell lot of pain in the future because every time you try to add something or retrieve something or update something, you might have to work around your initial mistake. Even though, yes, you can modify your database after you have created the actual thing, it is still very painful to do data migration. Because migrations, for anyone who's done software engineering, you should know those were the most painful things. So you have to ensure that the original thing's still working while creating something new. And during the transition, how do you ensure that you have consistency across essentially two distinct data models in your database? Okay. Okay, so we are going to try it out. The interface is fairly easy. You just click this AI Copilot thing in data models, and then you will be faced with this little chat box over here. So the first thing we're gonna do is to build a forum. All right, so for people who have built forums before, it's probably fairly easy, but if you have not built one, then it could be daunting how to start. So I'm just going to say, like, build me a forum. Okay, so what does the AI do? Under the hood, we're using Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is a reasoning model, which means it will start thinking before it outputs something. Now that's where the analyze and thinking about development plan comes in. And analyzing actually contains a lot more things like discovering whether you are talking about Moment or building a software. What if you said something like, uh, you know, help me to cure cancer? Obviously, that's not going to happen with a software. So in that case, we will just prematurely stop this process, and then it will try to get the existing table. Obviously, we don't know what the existing tables are and what columns they have. And in this case, it's fairly simple. We just have account table, which is the default table. And now let's see what it does. So before we actually let the Copilot build the thing for you, we'll see that it will give you a plan of what it will do. So in this case, it says it will create a new relationship between account and the newly created table post. and it's a one-to-many, so each account will have multiple posts, which makes sense. And you get the post table, which contains some default fields, which are not bolded, and these ones are in bold. Those are newly created. Those are columns that will be newly created. Title, content, author, comments. Now we do notice that this comment stuff does not have an author, which is wrong, but the comment table does have a relationship to the post, which is one to many, which makes sense because each post can have multiple comments. And the other thing that you may want to add is that a comment may need to be able to respond to the comment. So that could also be something that you want to consider. In this case, we'll keep it simple. We'll not have comments replying to another comment, but maybe we'll have like comment within which it kind of responds to a particular account. Okay, so let's do that. So let's ask the AI to fix that for us. Comments should have authors. Also, they should be able to refer to other users, like at username. Or let's make it more challenging, right? Able to refer to many other users, like at user 1, at username 2. So let's see what it does. Obviously, we did not. Here's the bug, right? It should not really say accepted. I will like jot this one down. It should not say accepted. It should just say like being modified. So that's a UI bug, and obviously we are still in the beta phase, as you can see from here. We are in the public beta phase, and because we're in the beta phase, you can use this AI Copilot feature completely free without consuming any of your resources. So it will start thinking again, and every time it will try to re-evaluate the tables. There are optimizations that we can do because we can detect whether the database has been changed between subsequent AI invocations, and if there is no change, then they can skip this particular step, and that would save tokens and also save time. But that's an optimization to be left for the future. And okay, though this is not bad, we got these posts, we got these comments tied to an account, and then we also have this thing called comment mentions, so when it was mentioned by someone in a different comment. In a post, that nothing really has changed here. Comment now has an author field, that's new, and it has comment mentions, so that is like that's actually a many-to-many relationship, and you can see that because it's a many-to-many relationship, and those are built with intermediary tables, relation tables. So we have a comment mention table, which has one comment and one user. So for each, so that's that, and then maybe we want to make it even more complex. But for now, let's accept that and let the AI create these tables for us. And to make it even more fancy, we'll have like a notification functionality. So whenever you are mentioned, you will be sent a message about the comment that you were mentioned in. And maybe we'll also add the mention capability into the post. So it's very much like Twitter, but not exactly. It's like a BBS. So it still has this concept of these main posts, rather than Twitter, where everything is just a tweet. So this one is actually correctly labeled as accepted. So that instructs the AI, the Copilot, to build out these tables for you. And it's executing the task. Okay, so it has created these things. Let's check them out. And it's always a good idea to check the work of the AI at every single step. Otherwise, you might end up with things that you're not really expecting. So post has title, content, and an author, and it has comments as relationship and author as a relationship. Comments have post, has content, has mentions, and let's see, it has a one-to-end mention. And one thing that we haven't implemented is the constraints, because in reality, there should only be one mentioning of a user in a comment, and therefore there should really be a unique constraint. That is something that will be added very soon. So in this case, we will add the constraint ourselves. So we call it unique comment mention. We call it comment user. Okay, so we'll have those two, comment and user, as the unique columns, and we'll create those. And let's make it even more fancy, and we'll just have another functionality where you can have mentions for posts, and also we'll have notifications whenever a user has been mentions, more like an inbox feature. So let's build that out. Add mention functionality to post, and similar to the comment. Add, oh, by the way, shift enter, shift return gives you a new line rather than sending the message. It's the same, I think that's the same in ChatGPT. Add an inbox feature to receive notifications whenever the user is mentioned in a post or comment. Okay, so that what I'm showing you now is making further updates to the database based on what is already in there and adding functionalities. And while we're waiting, if you do have any questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer them. So again, the AI does the same thing, the same hoops it's jumping through. You got the analyzing that determines whether this is an actual reasonable request, and then it starts thinking about what to do, and then it will look at the structure of the existing tables, and then it will, based on the table names, it will try to view tables columns, because sometimes you have hundreds of tables. You don't want to look at the entire database because that'll be useless and wasteful and expensive. Eventually, you will have to pay for this feature, right? You will have to pay this for the tokens that you consume. So in here, let's see, we got this. What do we do if we would add mentions to post? So you got post mentions, that's correct. So that's a relation to post mentions. So that's a new relation table. That is also correct. Notifications, that is fairly correct. And in post, we have another relation to post mentions. So that is correct. And these comments are left alone. Post mention, again, we are going to be missing our unique constraint, because a post should not have two mentions of the same user. And notification is going to be a new table, so we can implement this inbox feature. It will have a type is read. That's pretty good. Recipient, who is going to be reading it. Okay. That is okay. Source post and source comment. Okay, so that's not bad. So the idea is that depending on the type, either source post or source comment is going to be filled. The other one's going to be left empty. Okay, so let's accept that and let the AI build it out for us. Now, I'm gonna further add some stuff into it. For example, I'm gonna have like multiple images and a single video with a cover image for the post, so the post is even fancier. And I'll modify it on top of this. It does a fairly good job of doing it. And let's see. See if I have any quick questions over. Oh, is there a way to see the history of a prompt, or do we just have to scroll up? You just have to scroll up, and then here is a list of your session history. You have the current active one. Now, if you create a new one, for example, someone else, like you shared your account, sorry, your project with someone else, and they start their own session, and you will have multiple sessions over here, and you can look at each. By the way, pretty cool name. You got technology. Okay. Hi, technology. All right, so that's been accepted. Let's check the result again, as we should be doing. Sometimes it does fail. When it fails, well, it's AI. So it will tell us to do a list of things, and sometimes it will contradict itself, and it just happens. And that's why we need to check them. So in post, we now have relationship to the post mention, and we have notifications. In the post mention, you got 1, 2, n. Okay, so each post can mention multiple accounts. That's correct. And in the notification, we got one notification. Well, each comment can have multiple notifications because you can notify multiple accounts. In this case, I mean, really what should have happened is that these notifications should be tied to the comment mentions and the post mentions, because that is where you have both the account and the post, right? Otherwise, like, you are storing the recipient account independently. You're saving it here, and then you might end up, well, if you're not careful, you do end up with a notification whose recipient account is not in the mention list of the post or the comment. So you could ask AI to fix that, but in the interest of time, we're not going to be doing that. But that's just something you want to consider, because you want to try to eliminate as much redundancy as possible, because once you have redundancies, you have to maintain those redundancies. You have to ensure that they're always consistent. All right, so what we're going to do here now is we're going to add fancy stuff to the post. So let's say add posts can have multiple attached images and a single or a single attached video with corresponding cover image. And you can use abbreviations like IMG, because AIs are fairly intelligent when it comes to deciphering these. Okay, so same shebang. It's going to you know, look at that and oh, by the way, you can also start a new session. So what we will do after this guy, okay, so let's first finish this. Posts now have a single video, which is kind of fine, a video cover image, which is fine, and you have images table, which is a one-to-many relationship between the post and the images, and the post image table. So you got this additional table to keep track of the multiple images per post. And this is all correct. And while we do this, as I said, we should fix the constraints. We should call this unique post mention post count. Okay, so we have the mention post, and that fixes my problem. And the other fancy thing about this is that you can ask AI to explain what the hell is going on. So in order to do that, we will start a new session so that it doesn't have the existing context, and we'll ask the AI what is really going on with our database. What are the functionalities of different tables? What are their rows? Okay, so we have now created this new thing. As you can see that while we were creating this new thing, we were also able to simultaneously add the constraints onto these tables. And if you did change something so that what the AI wants to do is now inconsistent, if there are conflicts, like you just deleted the post table and the AI tries to create a relationship between post and post mention, then you will get an error with AI. I think you can also revert these things, right? Each one of them has a revert, so you can do these things. Like if you created something and you notice that AI has made a mistake, just create a click revert that goes back to there. Okay. So post now has video cover image, and a relationship to images. That's all fine and dandy. So let's create a new session and ask AI what the hell's going on. Try to like write a product requirement document with user stories that fits the current structure of the database. Explain core tables and how things work. Okay, I'm being fairly vague on purpose here. Let's see. I mean, these things are quite interesting because a lot of times it's difficult to decipher what other people did, and that becomes just a lot of pain, right? So this thing looks at all tables and looks at all table results, and now it's coming up with its answers. And let's take a look. And the other, what we'll do again later is that we will use this add context feature. So we're gonna start a new session and ask AI to specifically explain what a few particular tables are doing. Okay, so let's look at this. Product requirement document, a content sharing social media platform. All right, so that's what we basically did. It's a forum. Core features: user management, registration, login, profile management, content creation, ability to create posts with text, images, and videos, social interactions, commenting on posts, and mentioning other users. Notifications alert users about interactions related to them. User stories: as a new user, I want to sign up, log in, create new profile. As a logged in user, I want to create posts with text to share, add multiple images to my post to share visual stories, upload video with cover images to my post, view a feed of posts from other users, leave a comment on a post to share my feedback, mention other users in a post or comment to get their attention, receive notifications when someone mentions me or comments on my post, view all my notifications in a dedicated section, view the profiles of other users to see their posts, and update my profile information. That's not bad at all. And mind you, all of that came from just looking at the structure of the database. And then that's usually the case because the database is almost always the core of your application. Your front end, I'd like to think that the front end is really the crust of the earth, where your database is the core of the earth, right? The core and the mantle of the earth. So the front end has to fit whatever the database dictates. And now it goes on to explain these workflows. This is pretty good. The workflow example is pretty good. The user logs into their account. They create a new post. If they add images, those are saved in post images and linked to the post. Another user sees the post and adds a comment. In the comment, they mention another user. This creates a record in comment mention. The system then creates a notification for the mentioned user linking the document. The system, in this case, really is a database trigger. That should have been done with a database trigger plus an action flow, but that's currently not in the knowledge of the Copilot that we have built, but we will slowly morph them into the more knowledgeable forms of these Copilots. And then the mentioned user can then view their notifications and jump directly to the comment. So that is very correct. So now, last thing we're going to do on this particular project, we're going to ask AI, what is the purpose of those two tables? So you can mention specific tables. This interaction, we will try to stick with this kind of user experience in later when we try to integrate AI copilots into UI building, API integration, action flows, and agent building and permission building. We'll try to have the ability to have you direct the AI's attention to particular things. Okay, so in this case, it goes, based on the schema can infer the post is designed to store the main content of a user's post. It includes a title and the main, the post mention table is used to record mentions of users. If a user is mentioned in a post, a record is created in this table linking to the mentioned user, mentioning to the specific post which the mention occurred. That allows application to track all user mentions across all posts. Okay, that's very correct. Describe describe a sequence of database activities related to those tables. Talk to me in terms of CRUD. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. So this way, this AI is going to explain to me like when things are created and when things are deleted or updated and whatnot. In this particular case, my guess is that it's just going to give us a bunch of creates, because that's really what is going on with maybe one update, right? So for the post mention, there's a is red flag, which might be cleared. Yeah, that's we go. Yeah. Okay, so create post. If one user creates a new post, a new record is inserted. That's a create. Yes, that's correct. And reference to author. If it includes videos or images, these are also populated. Mention table. Content of the post mentions another user, new record is created. Each of these records will store mentioned user account and post linking the mentioned. Okay. So you can explore projects like this. And in fact, we can also explore existing projects. And before we do that, there is another thing that I'd like to show you. Well, yeah, very soon we're going to be adding an action flow like builder with AI Copilot as well. And then logs, right? So let's just sync something first because those database changes haven't yet been synchronized to the backend yet. So we'll sync it. And we'll look at the last 15 minutes of our database. And you can see there's sync data that has something. So let's just ask AI. Whenever you choose a particular trace ID, you can ask the AI. So the AI will fetch all the logs with that particular trace ID. A trace ID will correspond to a sequence of actions that was taken. The log indicates that the deployment of support service was successfully completed. We should just call this like, instead of like support service, a backend service, but that was a name that was chosen a long time ago. All operations, including refresh and runtime configuration, synchronizing data, finished without any errors. Fantastic. This would have been even more useful if you had an error, right? So one way you could do it, I can't show you here because there's no error, but if you did have an error, you can choose whatever that error is and then ask AI to explain what the hell is going on. It will not always get everything correct, but it will get it more correct than you would normally expect them to. All right, so let's go to a different project. So in YouTube, I have this tutorial project that I used to build like a full-fledged tutorial to build a full project. And it has some reasonably complex database structure. So let's ask AI what is going on in here. Explain to me what this project is about. Come up with, I would not say potential, but likely. Come up with the likely user stories that this database is able to support. User stories are fairly, it's an actual word, right? That's an actual thing. It's a concept that is very commonly used to communicate within the software development industry. So you would use these stories to let the other side know what you're trying to build. And typically they consist of a role. So who is trying to do what, and I think it was like who is trying to do what and what the benefit of those actions are, and then you will have a list of like an acceptance criteria, which are like the list of things that has to be satisfied in order to deem that particular user story to be fully developed. All right, so let's take a look at what is in here. The project appeared to be an online learning platform. That is correct. Based on database structure, there's an explanation. The platform allows authors to create and upload courses. These courses are organized into different categories. Users can browse these courses, purchase them through purchase orders, and then get access to the course content. The account has course table, keeps track of which user has access to which course and for how long. That is very correct. And here are the likely user stories for student. You can manage your account. you can discover courses and purchase them, and then you can learn them. And for the course author, you can manage the courses. And for the platform administrator, you can add, edit, remove course categories. You can manage a list of authors, and then you can view all purchase orders and monitor sales and manage system-wide settings. So that is all correct. And that exactly is what this thing was set out to do. But as an added bonus, and also as the last step of the day, we will try to add a new feature. I'm not going to deploy it, but we'll see what the AI does. So previously, each course just has a single video, right? So what if we want to break them down into multiple episodes? So each course will have many episodes, and each episode will also have a tracker, like out of how, let's say each episode has 50 minutes, how much has this user completed? So let's add that. Each course should be broken down into multiple episodes, and each student can should each student should student's progress in each episode should be tracked. Okay, so let's see what the AI does to satisfy our need. So that, I mean, a lot of you might have trouble coming up with a design that supports this use case, but I am fairly confident that the AI is going to be able to do a fairly good job. Okay, let's take a look. So the course now have episodes. Maybe you should remove the video, right? But we'll ask the AI to do that. If episode progresses, okay, so that's not bad. Episodes have video, transcript is linked to a course, and it has these progress records, and is completed. Okay, so that is correct, but we don't want the videos. So no overall course videos, and progress should be tracked to the seconds. That may or may not be what you want, but that's what we're gonna have. So instead of just like a single done or not done, we also have like how much of that is done. By the way, if you have questions, again, don't hesitate to ask. And also give it a try yourself, because these things are free now. So it should help you get started. Right? You'll be able to see how different projects can be constructed, and you can also use this to take a look at some templates and ask the AI to teach you like why things are built that way. Using AI to learn things is usually quite fruitful. Tool calling, we're almost done. Analyze tool call results, and that usually is the last step, and then we should be able to see that. And I'm also, okay, here we go, let's see. It did not delete that. Okay, whatever. So we could tell it just to remove it. Episodes of a video, and then you have progress records, and progress records have current progress in seconds. Now you have the second thing. So let's be explicit. Remove the video field in the course table because I don't really like it. And I'm not going to click accept because, I will accept, and then we'll see how that we can undo it because I don't want to mess up my template project, which I am using for the tutorial. I understand you want to remove, however, the interest to prevent does not support deletion exists. Oh, that is unfortunate. I thought we can delete, but anyways, that is that. Okay, fine. So apply the previous change plan. And now we can no longer click on that, and that's actually fine because this should have been disabled anyways. It should not say accepted anyways. Hopefully it will give us the same plan. Almost done. Awesome advice about AI explains structure and function. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, those AI, like prior to large language models, in order to learn something, you basically need a teacher that's always trying to cater to you, but that's very expensive because teachers are, a good teacher is probably like $50 an hour, if not more. AIs are much cheaper than that. Okay, so that's that. Current progress, that's not bad. We're going to accept this. AI is going to create the things. I thought we were able to delete these fields, but maybe I was wrong. But beta features. Or maybe it's because when you try to delete it, we detect that you're using it. And yeah, that is probably why. Because whenever you do this, we have a detection that dependencies exist and you can't delete that. If you try, you will get a bunch of front-end errors, basically. Because then your page is trying to pull things that doesn't exist. Okay, so it's executing some task to update database schema, and it's basically going to do that. Okay, so that's done. So you now have course, which is now tied to more than just account has course, but also episodes. And these episodes have progress, and the progress are a link between the account and episode. Obviously, as I said, we don't have the ability to add constraints yet, which is necessary in this case. Otherwise, you would have multiple progresses per account per episode, which does not make any sense. Now, since I don't want it, I'm just going to click revert, and that's all gone. Okay, so that is all I want to show for today. Remember, you can use this beta feature completely free at the moment. You can use it to create new database structures for your new projects. You can use that to modify the database structures of existing projects. You can use that to explain, to learn about how to construct databases, why things were done that way, or you can even ask it to teach you the best practices of doing certain things. And use it, it's free. And then if you run into issues within the logging system, you will be able to find ways for the AI to help you. Let's say for, what is this? And the AI will explain what happens in those logs. And usually that's much faster than yeah, gateway. Okay, so the detailed successful operation where application run and cause to retrieve specific account information, which is exactly what it did. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any further questions, let me know. I have explored Moment AI Copilot for more than several hours and I have learned a lot of useful tricks today. I look forward to the upcoming improvements. Thank you very much. We'll keep making improvements and we'll also try to have Copilot for every single feature, and eventually we'll have a overarching Copilot, which will help you build a full project from beginning to the end, and obviously still giving you the control that you need after the AI has built it, so that you can make final adjustments. Okay, if there are no more questions, I will end our live stream today. Okay, that shall be it. Bye.